Mr. Joshua Ringer, in your experience with the UAP phenomenon, has anything happened or any knowledge been gained that would impact your thoughts on the afterlife?
Ooh. Wow, thank you for asking that question. If anything, it shows that the universe is far more wondrous than we ever give it credit for. I will share my own personal thoughts, and let me caveat they are only my 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 opinion.
Sure.
But I'm fairly convinced death is a process, no different than birth. It's a transition, and I say that because I've seen enough of my fair share of death up close and personal, both in terrible circumstances and in circumstances that were more natural. Death is a transition, in my opinion. It's no different than walking over the threshold from somewhere else into this life, and then stepping over the threshold back to something else. Um, we've long known, and by the way, a lot of religions also subscribe to this, that we know that energy cannot be created or destroyed, right? It just moves on, transforms. At some point I may share a little bit of my personal experiences. Again, I don't want to distract from the topic of UAP, because at the end of the day, it's really not relevant what I think. It's not relevant my experiences on this kind of stuff. What matters is what the facts and the data suggest, right? What the facts say. So I'm always very keen, because the moment you go from scientific discussion to spirituality, it's kind of a slippery slope. And what we've got to do is we've got to make sure we don't blend the two together. We really, really, really have to be careful. Now, I'm going to share something with you real quick, a quote, because I think it's relevant. And I shared this with Christina not too long ago. And then I sent it to my Skyfork guys, and they actually were able to put a really neat little chart together. Let me pull this up in a second.
Sure.
Because, as I do feel that science is important. I tend to stick to the scientific methodology of things. I think it's important we do that. But, and it's a big but, there's a whole nother part of human existence that science really can't explain. And not only can it explain, it really has no purview either. So let me pull this up here. This is about scientism. Okay. Scientism is a speculative worldview about the ultimate reality of the universe and its meaning. Once you accept that science is the only source of human knowledge, you have adopted a philosophical position of scientism that cannot be verified or falsified by science itself. And so, why is that interesting to me? Well, because in the pursuit of science, scientists often wind up adopting scientism. And I don't think scientism is any different than any other religion out there. And we must be careful of that. We must understand that there are limitations to science. There are limitations to current and modern technology. And I also will remind people that every well substantiated scientific principle today that we just accept as being no kidding started off as somebody's wacky zany hypothesis at some point in the past, without exception. So lest we forget that, and remember that in the pursuit of science, let's not get lost in the world of scientism. I do think there's much to this universe that is not necessarily can be explained by science. Look at the reality of love, right? If I ask you what is love, well, we all agree that there's a thing called love because we all feel it, and yet we'll all explain it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
You can't touch it, can't see it, you can't hear it, you can't smell it, you can't weigh it, you can't measure it. And yet it's something as universal as you and me, and as real as our planet. Right? Look at maternal instinct. Look at this is something that is so innately strong in some human beings that it goes contrary to the survival of the individual itself, they will literally kill themselves to protect and defend the next offspring. So it is real. You can, pretend that it's not, but it is. And there's an example of the reality of something that is spiritual, something that we can't measure through science, and yet is as very real as anything else that we deal with. So anyways, long-winded answer. I didn't mean to digress too much, but
No
you're
worries.
asking me a question that I want to answer fairly.
Sure.
But I also don't want to overstate my, if you will, my position, overstep my position in providing this information.
Sure.
It's too important of a topic, and I don't want my opinion to detract from our pursuits of trying to figure out what these are.
No, that was great. That was well explained, and yeah, I appreciate that. So thank you.